This is Databases 101. So, what even is a database? A database is where you store your data. I know that sounds a little obvious. However, it's where you store persistent data so that everybody can see the same data or just the information you want them to see across any website. So as you come here to our screen, we have our Database 101 website, which we will be connecting to our native integration Supabase during this episode. So a database is like a digital filing cabinet that stores and organizes information in a way that makes it easy to find, update, and manage. You can think of it like a library system. You have books, that's your data. You have shelves, that's your tables, or the different categories you organize your data. You can put your books on different shelves. And then you have your catalog system, the Dewey Decimal. Nobody likes that. And that's your queries, which we make it super easy with our Supabase integration. So you do not have to know what SQL or SQL even is. We do it in natural language that's easy for you to read and understand. So let's talk about Supabase. So what is Supabase? Lovable's native Supabase integration lets you manage both the front-end UI and your back-end database through a single, easy-to-use chat interface. In other words, you can describe your app screens and set up your cloud SQL database without ever leaving Lovable, which is crazy. This unified approach makes powerful app development accessible to everyone. So how do you do it? It's super simple. Click the green lightning bolt in the top right corner, and then click the Connect to Supabase button. If you have not already authenticated your Supabase account, Supabase is free to start off with. You're going to want to create a Supabase account and sign in. Once you've done that, you can connect to a project. So let's connect to this project. Once you connect to your project, it's going to take a second to load, and then you should see that the project is connected. And it's that simple. Now, if you go over here to the chat, you can see that because this is a database, we already had, it's connected to my database, it's found some tables, and it's giving me important information on things I can do next, like add user account to login, store real user data, add advanced features like edge functions that help you do things like connect to APIs and send email notifications or even make payments. So when you connect to Supabase, all you have to do is to remember to click the button and wait for the green light. After you're connected, you have a plethora of different things you can do. Now, what is SQL? So SQL is a structured query language. It's the language that you use to talk to the databases, but you don't have to know SQL. Lovable will write and explain the SQL to you. For example, let's say that we want to create a new table, and in this table, we wanted to have different books, keeping with that library metaphor. So I can say, I would like to create a new table to store details about books. And we just send that to Lovable. And then, as you can see, Lovable writes your SQL query for you. And it writes a nice natural language, create a table for storing book details, add row level security, create a policy for public read access books, only authenticated users can insert books, etc. Now you might ask, what is row level security? Row level security you can think of as a security guard that guards your data against unwanted eyes. Sometimes some information should only be accessible by users or admins, but other information, say being able to view a book, should be accessible by everyone. If you're unsure what your RLS policy should be for your table, you can always turn on chat mode and ask. If you think this is the right data that I would like to insert into my database, all you have to do is click the Apply Changes button, and Lovable creates all of the database structure for you without you having to lift a finger. It is really great. And after you create that table, you can always go into Supabase to check it and review the different tables. However, I would advise against directly editing your table and or data in Supabase if you are not yet familiar with how Supabase and databases work. Leave the heavy lifting to Lovable because it can do it for you. So, when should you use a database? You should use a database if your app needs to remember information between visitors and visits and share that data between users. Then you probably need a database for things like a blog, an e-commerce store, or a social media app. You want that data to always be with your users. If you're just making, say, a landing page with static information that doesn't change over time, you probably don't need a database. Whether you need one or not is super simple to use with our native Supabase integration. We can't wait to see what you build.